And now, the B Plus Wrestling Podcast. Watch global. Support local. It's the B Plus Wrestling Podcast.
The move.
You might not be an A, but you are a B plus.
Check it out! Here we go! You wanna mess with us? 'Cause we're steady on the ground.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and welcome to the most must-listen-to WWE podcast in Australia. Welcome to the B Plus podcast. My name is CJ, and we are not flying solo this week as we have a Wonderland-filled return in Danders.
Hi, CJ. How you going?
Doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Living large. I missed you so much. I'm sorry that I've left you hanging, but I'm sure that your back is getting pretty strong from carrying the team.
My back is feeling strong, but how are you going after Wrestle Rock?
I can't, I'm 30 now. I feel like I can't do Wrestle Rock anymore. I don't know. It was a very odd night. Yeah, there's many poor decisions made.
By the sounds of it, you and the WWE have a lot in common at the moment. Poor decisions, bad mixes. I'm kidding. You don't have any of those. But WWE does, so let's get into it.
Nah, plenty of people were looking at me Saturday night like, Danders, what are you doing? And I feel like people are looking at the WWE that way at the moment.
We're in a really, really strange state. So this week's going to be a little bit different for the viewers or listeners, however you decide to listen to us. We're going to have a quick recap of the week of WWE, and then we're going to hit a couple of more hard-hitting topics about the behind-the-scenes style, which we don't really touch on as much. However, it's going to be different. We're going to hit it because it needs to be done. So we'll head straight into it with Monday Night Raw, where Vincent Kennedy McMahon opens the show. I felt like this was 2008 again. I don't know why. Because he was a genius back then and he's calling himself a genius now. What?
Yeah, look, to be completely honest, I've been in a headspace the last 2 to 3 weeks. I'm not sure how long I've been away, 2 weeks maybe, where it's just been really hard for me to watch WWE. I don't watch a lot of independent wrestling.
Yep.
But I watch a lot of local wrestling. I watch a lot of Victorian and New South Wales wrestling. And I just feel like my time and energy has been taken up so much by a lot of external things that watching WWE for the first time in my life has become a chore. And I felt, and I was like, this week I'm going to really put in 110%. I'm going to really, get this going. And Vince McMahon comes out and it just drained the life out of me.
Yeah, he does that. He does that too often.
So yeah, can you give me a rundown, just because my brain on Tuesday was still an absolute mess. A rundown of, we were introduced to the wild card. What does this mean? What is the wild card?
So the WWE wild card was introduced on Monday Night Raw, as you said, where we have the option of 3 to 4 superstars a week coming from SmackDown to Raw, or from Raw to SmackDown by invitation only. If you show up unannounced, or you show up without permission, you will either be fined or fired. So this is really, really interesting, because to me, this symbols the end of the brand split. We have now seen 2 WWE Championship matches on 2 separate brands. Like this, I haven't seen that in ever, actually.
Yeah,
I don't remember the last time I saw it.
A lot of people have been predicting this when we got Becky 2 belts, and then they announced that the women's championships would be floating championships. To me, I really wanted to believe that they were not going to be that stupid, that they weren't going to kill the brand split. But because the one time I noticed, I was never super for the brand split when they initially brought it in.
Yeah.
But once we started getting Becky Lynch on both shows, that's when I realized the necessity for the brand split, because I'm fucking sick of Becky Lynch. I love her. I'm her number one fan in the B+, And I'm sick of her. Imagine how the casual fan is feeling. Becky should be on one show. There's too many stars for there to,
Yeah, no, I
Anyway.
agree. I agree with you, to be honest. Like, I personally believe that there are so many outside sources coming for this due to the fact that we have SmackDown about to move over to Smocks, over to Fox, and they're getting hounded from their sponsors, getting hounded from the TV units, going like, we need more edgy product. And if you think about it, one of the edgiest things about Monday Night Raw was Roman Reigns. And then when they were like, hey, let's ship him off to SmackDown because we're going to Fox, we're gonna need that sort of hard hitter Brock Lesnar style over there, Raw viewers plummeted. I'm not saying it was just Roman, but I'm saying around the time when he moved, things dropped heavy. Heavier than heavy machinery, and that's saying something.
The heavy machinery are very heavy. Yeah, look, I'll be completely honest. I know that we've had a little bit of a chat. I'm not too abreast the numbers, just because for me, watching the actual shows at the moment is hard enough.
Yeah.
And at the end of them, I'm just like, I'm out. Like, all right, I don't want to know anymore.
That's right.
But like, I get what you're saying, and I think that Roman came back with so much momentum, which never happens. Like, it's very, very rare that you'll have someone who's hated and then they come back with so much momentum, and they've just killed it.
No, I don't know. I think the last person that did that was Edge. When he returned in the 2010 Royal Rumble, he was a heel when he left because he was in the tag team with Chris Jericho at that time,
Mhm.
and then he returned to one of the biggest pops I think I've ever heard.
Yeah, that was 9 years ago, though.
True.
Like,
That
I mean,
was- wow,
if
that
it's
was
when,
that was
but also Edge was a heel and he was hated. Like, he was
Yes.
hated as a heel. Roman was a face and he was hated.
yeah, good point. Yeah, good point.
So, but I get what you mean. Like, it does happen, but it's few and far between. Like, this was the thing that Roman needed, which sounds awful because he had cancer. But this was perfect for his push, and it's just, I don't know
Yeah.
what they're doing with him. There's going to
It's
be
very
a lot of,
confusing.
I don't know what they're doing in this. Yeah.
I don't blame you, to be honest, because I don't think anyone in the WWE Universe knows what's going on. We'll kick off with Raw. Raw opened with Roman Reigns, which is really strange because, yes, as we just said, he is a SmackDown superstar.
Mm-hmm.
However, he was interrupted by Daniel Bryan, again, SmackDown superstar, and the WWE Champion, Kofi Kingston. Now, these three guys are like, why are you all on Raw? Why do you get to have fun? And it's like, well, Roman came to finish business, which I'm guessing was Drew McIntyre. But outside of that, like, what else did they have to do? It was a waste of time. Like, Raw has so many fantastic superstars. I don't understand why they're wasting precious airtime with guys that can go over to SmackDown and have it there. Where there's A, a smaller roster, and B, not as many
Big
main
names.
event stars. Yeah.
Big names, yeah. Like the crowd drawing names, yeah. No, I completely
that's exactly
agree.
right. So it was a really, really interesting segment, to say the least. However, we got announced for 2 WrestleMania rematches, Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns, and a WWE Championship match, Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan, which we'll talk about, of course, later. But this has got to be... There is no better example for WWE's creative bookings than going solo on this, because right before Raw, this is one of the things I wanted to touch on, and it has something to do with this opening segment. Right before Raw, the WWE Raw head writer, Ryan Callahan, was fired.
Ooh.
So we're not sure why exactly he was fired. Apparently he was unpleasant to work with backstage. He hated when creative stuff got changed because he took it personal. But this came right before Raw that Ryan Callahan was let go. So it comes down to the fact that was he fired and then this segment was changed to this? Or was he fired previously? And they're like, let's simmer on it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's strange because it's really weird. They've got so many writers coming in and out at the moment, and I think that's where the decline in viewers is coming.
Yeah, there's no continuity at
No.
all with the storylines or anything at the moment, and I think that is really reflected in the story, like in how people are feeling about it, because it's like, how can you to me, WrestleMania was the best one I've seen in recent memory. It's certainly not the best of all time, but it's the best one I can remember watching in a long ass time. And
Yeah.
I don't know how they've just destroyed it so quickly. Like, they've killed all the momentum. They had 3 face champions.
No,
and
that's
they've
exactly
just
right.
destroyed it.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. They had so much momentum flying into WrestleMania, and then I think it was the Raw after WrestleMania, where things just plummeted.
Yeah, absolutely. The Raw after WrestleMania was a flop, and I think since then it's kind of followed suit. Like, it's all kind of come down from there.
No, that's exactly right. But speaking of course, Monday Night Raw, AJ Styles and the new Universal, I can't call him new Universal Champion anymore, but the Universal Champion Seth Rollins had a war of words before Vince made the match. It was AJ Styles and Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin and Bobby Lashley, which was a decent match in itself, I guess, for a Baron Corbin match. However, the match did end with AJ Styles hitting a phenomenal forearm on AJ Styles, walking out of the ring, and then having Bobby Lashley and Baron Corbin pick up the pin.
This was just it was a good match, but it was not representative to like the caliber of the performers in the ring, which to me was what was the most disappointing. I'm very sorry, everyone. I'm going to be super negative because I just I'm more so like embarrassed because I spend so much time defending WWE. I'm very much like, if you don't like it, there's something for everyone. WWE is not going to interest you, or it's not going to interest everyone. Find some other form of wrestling. But it's not interesting me anymore, and I'm not taking my own advice. So I'm feeling very embarrassed. I'm very annoyed. So I apologize if I'm negative. This match was fine.
This match was a decent 3 stars out of 5, I'd have to say. Like, I loved the action in this match because it was fast, it was hard hitting. I love those sort of matches, but it just fell flat.
Yeah, there was no reason for me to invest in any of these people.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. However, someone I do have an investment on right now is Sami Zayn, who is still on fire this week.
He is the beacon of light. I never thought in a million years that I would cheer for heel Sami Zayn. Except for when he was with Kevin Owens, I feel like those two have so much charisma, but he is nailing it. He is absolutely killing it. He is the shining light at the moment.
No, that's exactly right. He's gone on to call himself the critic of the critics. He's tearing into fans left, right, and center. However, Braun Strowman's music interrupted him, much to the delight of Renee Young on commentary. I was watching it, and his music hits, and I turned away for 2 seconds, and all I hear of Renee's "yes!" And I was like, okay, she's excited.
I know. She doesn't. However, she's got someone to keep her warm now that Dean's gone.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah. That's okay, because WWE is awful right now. However, Sami Zayn, of course, quickly abandoning the ring, bolting from Braun Strowman. We get a quick filler match coming in with the loser house party going over some unknown opponent. And while this is happening, of course, Sami Zayn is running backstage. Sami Zayn, I don't know how he's alive, because Braun Strowman cornered him, popped him in a dumpster, and then not even seconds later, the dumpster was emptied into a garbage truck.
This was very reminiscent of that awful match from I think it was like Extreme Rules or like TLC a few years ago, where Braun Strowman got put into the dumpster, into the garbage. Yeah. That's what it reminded me of. But I thought it would have been really cool if that was done to someone who was involved in that match, as a little bit of like a coming full circle. But yeah, I love Sami Zayn. I just feel like even when he's trying to be the bad guy, he's still like hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. However, this is what's really frustrating to me. This is going to be going into CJ's ship booking. We're only going to have one this week so far. We haven't gotten into the rest of the week, so we could get more. But I really wanted to see Sami Zayn take time off coming into Money in the Bank. Like, take like I think we're 2 weeks away now, or 1 week away.
Mm-hmm.
He takes time off, returns at Money in the Bank, costing Braun Strowman the match, therefore those two having a feud. However, Sami Zayn miraculously recovered and returned to SmackDown. Like, that was just stupid writing. Absolutely stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just frustrated about that. But overall, Sami Zayn is still on fire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. However, yeah, so Lizzie House Party are in action while all this is going on. Then we get Ricochet versus Robert Roode. That's right, Robert Roode. So fucking stupid. This match was for Ricochet's spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Ricochet, of course, retaining by defeating Roode. I didn't understand why this was such a high-stakes match without any build. It was kind of boring.
I apologize. I'm completely out of the loop. Why is Bobby Roode called Robert Roode now?
Because they wouldn't accept Ned Flanders due to copyright. So that was horrible.
Savage.
No. So he wanted to be taken a bit more seriously, and if he was going to go by Robbie Roode, it was just going to be his nickname. Or it's just going to be sounding childish, something like that. So he went with Robert Roode.
Robert Roode sounds
Apparently.
too much like Rick Rude. I feel like Bobby Roode sounded enough like Rick Rude, and now you've got like another alliteration name.
That's exactly who I thought it was. I saw a meme not too long ago, I think it was last week, where it was a photo of Robert Roode and then Rick Rude in the same outfit. And I was like, shit, that's really scary. But yeah, so I don't know what WWE are doing with this creative with Robert Roode, but he's still getting screen time, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, he's still an awesome performer, dumb name or not. But yeah.
That's exactly right. Then we get Lacey Evans in action, of course, going up against an unknown opponent, with Alexa Bliss, Naomi, Dana Brooke, and Natalya accepting a formal invitation that was dripped with some sort of perfume to watch her at ringside, which I didn't understand. Because they were like, Lacey Evans' response to this was so they could see what they would be up against if they cashed in on her. My thoughts was like, but what if you don't win? What if you're just doing this and then you lose?
Yeah, look, I was okay with this because I think it like gives Lacey Evans a little bit of heat, which I like. She's becoming less of like a comedy thing and more genuine heat, which is awesome. I don't know. It's very bizarre. Are we going to touch on later the filthy rumors surrounding our favorite Buddy Murphy and Alexa Bliss?
Yes, we will be touching.
We'll touch on that later, so we won't go into that now because we need to talk about the women's match. We're not going to talk about who the women are dating.
Pretty much.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So yeah, this I think was fine. It didn't set the world on fire. I think that this was probably the most action women's wrestling had on WWE TV this week.
Oh, there was the tag team match on SmackDown.
Yeah. So,
but that was
it. That was it. Yeah.
So we, of course, after this match, you had a quick brawl with Becky Lynch, which was short-lived, with Lacey Evans retreating backstage. It is a high-intensity, feud, what's going on here, and I'm actually going to enjoy Money in the Bank watching this.
I think the women's Money in the Bank is probably what I'm most excited about coming up. For sure.
Yeah, definitely. Then we get a non-title match, specifically a non-title match. Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, World Tag Team Champions, versus the Viking Experience. Viking Raiders. I'm still trying to catch up with their name changes. And, of course, Viking Raiders making quick work of the World Tag Team Champions, pinning them. So these guys are dominant. I'm pretty sure this now makes them 14-0 on the main roster, which is ridiculous for a tag team.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. But look, given all the shit around their stupid name changes, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with giving them a bit of legitimacy. Yeah.
So having them called the Viking Raiders, I don't mind. War Raiders still sounded so much better, but apparently we can't promote the word war. So Viking Raiders stands good, and their finisher is now called the Viking Experience.
Okay.
So it's really strange because the first thing I thought of that was R18 comment, and I'm not going to repeat that on air. But I was like, okay, that's something. So of course,
That's the thing. Yep.
Ivor and Eric being dominant on Raw, they are getting these championships. You can see it. It's coming. They're going to be the top of the Raw tag team division. Vince likes big, heavy, sweaty men, so that's what Vince wants.
Vince does like big, sweaty men.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting. I feel like they're going to hopefully bring a little bit of spice to the Raw division with the championships once they get them. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Sorry, let me just rephrase it. Is it going to be spiced by the Viking Experience or spiced by Usi Hot? I'm sorry, I had to get that in there. As soon as you said it, I was like, yes.
I love it.
But yeah, speaking of big, heavy, sweaty men, Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre was a complete waste. Roman Reigns winning via disqualification after, of course, Elias and Shane McMahon jumping Roman Reigns. This was kind of stupid.
It really was, and it just made me think, like, how many people is Vince McMahon like in feuds with at the moment? He seems to hate everyone.
Yeah.
And why
Vince
are we
hates-
Yeah, why are we going back? It's like I feel like Vince McMahon is like, ratings are dropping. Remember when ratings were really high in the 90s when I was involved? Let's bring me back. That's his mindset, surely. It's just like,
it's because he's a genius.
yes.
Sorry. That was horrible.
No, it's so I don't understand why we're back to this feud also was another great concern of mine.
I think it's mainly because first night Roman had on SmackDown, he punched Vince in the face. So that's where that feud sort of built. And then Shane's like, you shouldn't hurt another man's father, and literally everyone went,
I meant more the Drew versus Roman.
Oh, that's tough. I think that was just unfinished business, apparently.
Okay.
But it's okay, because Drew McIntyre essentially got over.
Yeah.
Because, he hit like 3 Claymore kicks.
Yeah. He looked great in what was a pretty mediocre match.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Booking for these guys has been 50-50 as of late, and it has been hurting viewership. You can tell this section in particular was where a lot of the guys, I noticed behind the screen, I was watching the audience, I tend to do that a lot, but there was a massive section, I'd say there's about 18 to 20 seats that are empty, like right in front of the camera.
How bizarre.
Like, that's horrible for this sort of match. Like, these guys, Roman Reigns is a former WWE and Universal Champion. You've got Drew McIntyre, who's a future Universal Champion, and you can see that coming.
Mm-hmm.
But the crowd just doesn't care anymore.
Yeah, because they've been booked into hell. Like,
yeah.
They had Drew perfectly set up to just... He's got enough sort of, like, indie cred with like, his time away from the Fed. He's gonna that everyone likes him. He fits the big sweaty man component. I don't understand why they killed his push. I felt like he was red hot, and now it's just like, I don't care about you, Drew McIntyre, because you represent shitty feuds.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, Drew McIntyre once did everything for me. I was like, yeah, he's amazing. He needs to be the champion. And now I'm just kind of like, okay, sure, why not?
Drew McIntyre it's like, does this mean we're getting Braun Strowman? That's like, to me, it's just like, he means that Braun Strowman is coming out.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Of course.
I'm so negative today.
That's okay. Let's make things a bit more positive with probably the segment of the week, in my opinion. A new product endorsement set by Samoan brothers Usay Hot, activated by sweat.
I'm glad that you liked this, because it means that someone liked it.
I know, but to me this reminded me of like an old DX moment. I think that's what it was. I was like, they're channeling like their mentors.
Yeah, there was like a little bit of that. There was also a lot of to me reeked a lot of the Goldust and Christian feud with Ice Cream in the early 2000s. That's gonna show my age there. When everyone was suggesting that Christian used ass cream, it was like, extra creamy now with more ass, and it's like, this is what it reminded me of. And the fact of the matter is, this would have worked perfectly for me if it was someone like
Hawkins
Fashion
and Ryder?
Police. Yeah, Hawkins and Ryder, Fashion Police. Give
Yep.
this to someone who is already a comedy act. Don't turn,
Yeah.
to me, the Usos, like, I know they're burying the Revival, fine. Whatever. That's what they've decided that they're going to do. The
Yes.
Usos are pure money. Like, they are so talented. They're, to me, my favorite tag team of the last 5 years, probably longer.
Oh, 100%.
And this is what we're getting, and I'm not okay
Yeah.
with it.
So just to touch on what actually happened, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson got some TV time finally. They were supposed to have a match against the Revival until the Usos came out and they were like, nah, hang on, wait, it should happen about now. And they introduced Uzi Hot, which they apparently put in the tights of the Revival. And then Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder decided to sell it like that was the Undertaker hitting them with an uppercut. And flop around the ring and jump and skip and do all that sort of stuff. Because they were on fire. And then they put water down their pants, which caused it to be even more fire. Because this thing's activated by sweat. I didn't understand what it actually was. I just thought it was funny.
Icy
know
Hot
why.
is like deep heat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, deep heat's a pain in
that's
the ass to use.
Yeah, so it's a brand of like stuff, we call it deep heat.
Yeah.
But there's Icy Hot in the US. I'm pretty sure.
I would say that's probably what it is.
Let me just Google it. But yes, take us onto either your next thoughts or the next segment while I look this up.
The next thought I actually do want to play on is something that we spoke about before actually going live, which was a contract situation between the Revival and WWE at the moment. The Revival turned down 5-year, $500,000 contracts because they are sick and tired of what they're doing. Now, their contract, I'm pretty sure, is due to run out in September or something like that, or November. I think it's closer to November, and they are refusing to re-sign their contracts. So, looks like the Revival are on their way out, and I believe you're right, the WWE are indeed burying them due to the fact that they will not re-sign.
Yeah, and you know what, this actually reminds me, because to me, the main benefit of the WWE Network, and if I paid for my subscription, which I don't, the reason I would continue my subscription is because of my favorite thing is the documentaries.
Yep.
And I've loved documentaries that are of wrestlers that I don't even particularly like, because I think that they're really well done. And the Triple H one, I think it's called Thy Kingdom Come, was the one that I really enjoyed.
Yep.
He talks about in his early days at WCW, he was offered a 2-year contract for a amount of money that was good for his current status, but not a huge amount of money.
Yep.
And he said, give me a 1-year contract. And they were like, why? He goes, because at the end of that 1 year, you're going to decide I'm either not worth that amount of money or I'm worth way more than that. And that's what I thought of with the Revival, like signing a 5-year contract when they're getting to a stage where they're not letting people out of their contracts. They're not.
Yep.
So signing a 5-year contract in any sport is so risky. You'll notice AFL, and I'm pretty sure NRL, very rarely will sign a 5-year deal.
That's exactly right. I think the most I've seen was, it was a 4-year contract, so I think Cameron Smith could see out his 400 games.
Yeah.
I think that was about it.
Yeah, like, it does get done in US sports, but that's because the contracts don't mean anything. And if you're shit, they can just get rid of you.
Can we quickly talk about, though, contracts? Japan just signed a lifetime contract. New Japan Pro Wrestling signed, sugar, who was it? I was looking at it this morning. I'm not very familiar with New Japan Pro Wrestling, so Greg Unchained will have to pipe in there somewhere. Yeah, they signed a lifetime contract, which means he's there till the end, until he retires, and that's it. He's not going anywhere else.
I don't understand how they can do that.
No, that's exactly
he's
right.
Obviously agreeing to it, so who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, he was the one that announced it. He was like, "Yep, I'm doing it."
Yeah.
So it was really strange. But however, we are getting off topic. We will touch on the contract situation a little bit after when we talk about Raw and SmackDown. because there are a few contract issues. We need to get to those.
But 5-year contract is, in this day and age, is ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
anyone staying in any job for 5 years is so rare these days. So, good on the revival. I'm really
pretty proud to say
hopeful.
that I've been in my job for 5 years. Does that count?
I'm surprised that you're old enough to have been employed for 5 years. In my head, you're like
I'm not
15.
that young.
Yeah.
All right. That's
I'm
all right.
old.
15's all right.
I'm old.
I'm only 25, but that's okay. Speaking of someone who looks old, Lars Sullivan comes out and obliterates No Way Jose in a quick freak accident. I now just have a feeling that he just doesn't care anymore. I don't get it. But this is now leading into like the early 97, 98 Kane, where he was getting over by interrupting random people, just beating them down, sticking to that sort of, I'm the monster, I'm the beast, I'm going to destroy anything that's in front of me. That's what I'm seeing right now with Lars Sullivan, is an early Kane.
Yeah, and I'm not hating it, to be honest. For someone who's not super crazy about Lars Sullivan, I'm not hating how they're doing it. I don't know if I'm loving it, but I'm certainly not hating it.
Yeah.
Because this was a good way to make him look very dominant, because it's a squash match, but it's a squash match against someone that people know, but not someone people particularly care about. I'm sorry, No Way Jose. It's like people know him, but aren't getting angry that he's getting squashed because it's No Way Jose.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But let's just also, he didn't just beat down No Way Jose, but he's pummeled his entire conga line. Like, that was just funny to watch.
It was very funny. I'm over I thought I liked the No Way Jose conga line, but I feel like it's just the Adam Rose thing.
I was literally about to say that it feels like Adam Rose.
Yeah, which I felt like was already kind of like a little bit Godfather-esque, but enough time had passed that I felt like that was okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like they've just reused all the props from Adam Rose.
Just not Braun Strowman or James Ellsworth.
No. Bless. So yeah, this was enjoyable.
Yeah, it was
As far as
enjoyable
the show
considering
goes.
considering it was a Lars Sullivan segment. But speaking of the last main event, Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship in a WrestleMania rematch. Daniel Bryan coming straight back from injury. He was off since WrestleMania with a concussion injury. He finally got cleared. He's back. He's full ball. And he's gunning for Kofi Kingston, apparently.
Yeah, it was interesting to see Daniel Bryan go straight back into the title kind of scene, like into like the main event scene, because previously when he's come back from injury, they've kind of punished him a little bit or not, maybe not punished, but definitely haven't put a whole lot of faith in him. So yeah, these two have really great chemistry. Daniel Bryan can make anyone look good, though, to be fair. So yeah, this was really good. I'm okay seeing these guys feud for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'd like to see it coming after Money in the Bank. But now they've had a couple of storyline shuffles. Daniel Bryan, of course, got his WrestleMania rematch, his championship rematch, which apparently is not a thing, but is a thing. And Kingston retained.
Yeah, which I was pretty surprised with. Ye of little faith. I thought that they would get the belt off him quick smart. I assume he's doing pretty well in the t-shirt sales, to be fair.
Oh, he'd have to be. I knew they are merch crazy. I was going to say merch monsters, but I wouldn't go as far as that.
Yeah, they're definitely they know their markets.
Oh yeah,
so, yeah.
for sure.
This was
bright colours, it's all the kids.
Considering what a shit show this Raw was, this was an enjoyable way for it to end.
Yeah, I will admit it was enjoyable for it to end with Kofi Kingston, but it's the exact same way that SmackDown Live started, with Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, you're saturating me, man. Don't give me too much of a good thing.
Again, AJ Styles opened up SmackDown Live, followed by Sami Zayn. I spoke about this earlier. I think this was a stupid idea having Sami Zayn come here, because it should have been returning a Money in the Bank, being like, no, Braun, you cost me, I cost you. Yeah, anyway. They're, of course, continuing to take advantage of this wild card rule. Kofi Kingston being like, no, you know what? I'll go against you, or I'll go against you. Then after the break, it was announced Kingston's going to defend his WWE Championship again in a triple threat match.
Yep.
So, such excitement. Yay.
Well, like, I really like Kofi, but I don't want to see him in back-to-back championship matches.
Yeah.
Like 2 nights in a row.
No, I can understand that. But he is, of course, a fighting champion. As they do, they defend their championship. Seth Rollins.
Such shade.
Well, he goes on and he's like, I'm a fighting champion. I'm like, yeah, but do you put the title on the line? No,
Yeah,
you go into
bitch,
tag
where?
team matches.
Bitch, where?
So, yeah, all the shade to Seth Rollins at the moment. First match for SmackDown was Andrade versus Ali, ending in a disqualification because Randy Orton laid them both out with pretty decent RKOs. I was pretty happy with this.
Yeah, this was Randy Orton. I never get sick of seeing RKOs, to be fair, because every time I see it,
Yeah.
I just go out of nowhere. Even if it's not out of nowhere, even if it's out of completely the obvious, I'm still like, yeah, out of nowhere. So yeah, this was good. This was fine. Sorry, let me grab my notes up.
One thing I do want to touch on real quick is the fact that Randy Orton is now openly willing to work with the younger guys. I remember at one stage where he was like, I will only go in the main event. I won't face any new guys coming out of NXT because they're not experienced enough for my style. And now he's going up against the likes of Finn Balor, Andrade, Ali. Like, this is incredible. Like, this is good character progression for Randy Orton. Like, well done.
It is. Maybe he's realised that, like, he's not putting on great matches against big names, like when he's going up against the big names. And these younger guys, like, I mean, Finn Balor would be pushing 30, surely. He's not super youthful.
No, I think you're right. I think he's quite young, Finn Balor.
But,
like,
yeah.
So, yeah, it's...
But, yeah, it's good to see him mix it up a bit and not just be in second-tier main events against established names.
Yeah. I just want to touch Finn Balor's actually 37.
Oh my god, he's nearly 40. That's what staying out of the sun does, because he's Irish and there's no sun there.
The Irish just don't age.
Yeah.
Like, actually, you know what? I'm curious now. How old is Becky Lynch? I know we shouldn't ask a lady her age.
She's no lady. She's the man.
Yeah, good point. Good point. She's 32.
Oh my god, that makes me feel so much better about life. I've still got 2 years to get my shit together.
To become Dander's 2 belts.
Yeah, Dandy 2 belts.
I'll be cheering for you. Don't worry about that.
2 belter field. Yeah.
2 battlefield. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. So yeah, of course we get this match ending in a disqualification after Randy hits 2 RKOs, lays out his competition, gaining some momentum coming into Money in the Bank. We get a quick recap of Roman Reigns' journey for some reason, because we need to hype him any more than we already know him for the last 9 years. Shane McMahon comes out and he's like, you know what? Here's the new tag team champions, and introduces the guy who fought for the WWE Championship the night before, Daniel Bryan, with his lucky Rowan. Waste of opportunity here.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, Daniel Bryan's just come back from a concussion and they're putting him in big matches back to back, and they're not worth it. It's not, to me, it's not worth risking Daniel Bryan's health, because he's so good on the mic. He doesn't need to be fighting all the time, and it's not special because it's like back to back.
However, I will agree with you, it's not a good opportunity. But putting him in a tag team with Rowan has to be the smartest thing that I think WWE could do in this situation, mainly because they can protect him with Rowan. They've built Rowan to be this absolute monster of a guy, so he dominates 80% of the match, and Daniel Bryan just comes in and finishes the match. This is smart on WWE's behalf. I have to admit, this is very smart.
Absolutely. But I feel like Daniel can get a concussion from a stiff breeze at this stage. So I feel like we just need to...
Rowan tags him, Bryan's out for 6 weeks. Wow, that's horrible.
Yeah.
But then again, so is WWE at the moment. Anyway, the Usos come out with saying wait like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Was it wait or whoa? I think it was whoa.
I don't remember. Sorry.
Whoa. Yeah, anyway. So Usos came out, they're like, no, you know what, you don't deserve this. You need to earn those opportunities. So Shane McMahon agrees. A SmackDown Tag Team title match has been made. The Usos versus Daniel Bryan and Rowan. Of course, Rowan earning the pin with the Iron Claw. New Tag Team Champions, Daniel Bryan and Rowan. Grind. It should have been the Bludgeon Brothers. This would have been the perfect opportunity to have Luke Harper return.
Luke Harper's not getting any belts anytime soon.
But he's not coming back anytime soon by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
So, again, he's one of those situations that we will cover after SmackDown Live. We get Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose defeating Ember Moon and Carmella.
And they're Fire and Desire again.
Yeah, Fire and Desire, they're back on track.
We still don't know. We're assuming that Sonya Deville is Fire, but Mandy is the one that has like the fire emblem kind of.
It's all about me. That's Emma. Sorry, it's Mandy Rose. Yeah, she's just Fire and Desire. And Sonya Deville's that person.
It's like Fire and Desire with Sonya Deville.
That sounds like a mad mix track, hey?
Yeah.
Featuring DJ Khaled. Instead, it's featuring Sonya Deville.
Yeah. I'd listen to that.
Oh, that's funny as hell.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B Plus podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/theb+ and subscribe today. Hey everyone, just want to take a second to tell you about one of our new sponsors, OUTBREAK NUTRITION. OUTBREAK NUTRITION are creating supplements for survival, sharper minds, quicker reflexes, all the energy you need to take your performance to the next level, whether that be on the field, in the gym, on the gaming field. That's right, they have specifically designed gaming supplements as well to help you focus on those late night sessions. They even sell coffee, you guys, at OUTBREAK NUTRITION. You can get coffee pods, you can get coffee beans, you can get supplements for the bedroom as well if you want to enhance your performance there. These are performance enhancing supplements for every aspect of your life, specifically designed by gamers, for gamers, to stay fit and healthy in the gym, to stay sharp and focused on the game, and to dominate in all areas of life. So check out OUTBREAKNutrition.com, and for being a listener of our podcast, they will give you 10% off your order when you enter the code B+. That is BPLUS at checkout. So make sure, if you want to stay on top of your game, if you want to take your performance to the next level, OUTBREAKNutrition.com, enter the code B+ at checkout.
Of course, so Paige brought out Asuka and Kairi Sane to the ramp and announced that next week, Asuka and Kairi Sane will be facing Deville and Rose. That's going to be a good match. There's going to be a little bit more tension there. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Kairi Sane. I don't have a bad word to say about her. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that match. I think that I might even watch SmackDown with that match as my motivation.
Yep, totally should, because Kairi Sane is amazing. Then, of course, there's a backstage segment where we get Matt Hardy talking about Just Recovery, R-Truth join him, and then he was like, you know what, Lars Sullivan's horrible, and then Lars Sullivan is like right there.
Here he comes to wreck the day. Yeah, this was a bit. Sorry, let me just go.
I can understand this situation because they're building this feud between Lars and R-Truth. But now throwing Matt Hardy into the mix makes it a little bit more interesting. So Lars attacks Matt, throwing him into a restroom, and they're power-bombing R-Truth through a table. This was strange but good at the exact same time. That's all I have to say. It was strange and good.
But who did R-Truth piss off? Like, why is he... I feel like he's a good enough... He's, like... I get that he's, like, a bit silly, but I don't understand why he's getting buried by Lars Sullivan.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. Like, He was doing so well. The view, he was getting like fantastic responses when he was with Carmella doing his 7-second dance breaks. Now Carmella's off doing her certain thing, and then you've got him doing his thing. Now it's just, why would you split them? They were on fire.
They were, and they were really entertaining, and they were fun. So this is why we can't have nice things.
Apparently so, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
So, and of course, we'll touch on, before we hit the main event, we'll touch on the Firefly Funhouse, which was played on both Raw and SmackDown, which featured the death of a beloved character, Rambling Rabbit.
This reminded me of the hockey episode of The Simpsons, because I saw a meme about it, where Bart decapitates Lisa's rabbit doll, and then Lisa's like, that's your toy. It's like, Mr. Honey Bunny. I don't get this. I know that people are going mad for it. I don't love it. It reminds me of Blue's Clues. It's dumb.
So that's what I thought as well. I was like, hey, it's Blue's Clues. No, it's Sesame Street. No, it's Bray Wyatt.
It's silly, but to me it's not the good type of silly. To me, that watching that stuff is the stuff that reminds me that wrestling is fake.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's getting fans talking. This is one thing I really want to touch on, because Bray Wyatt sent out a tweet saying back in 2015, I did a couple of promos where
he did 8. He did 8 promos. 8 promos where there is a sentence that shouldn't be in there, and he is revealing next week what that is. But he has sent fans into an absolute frenzy. Surely this is fake.
No, it's actually not. I found a video on YouTube that was 6.5 hours long of all Bray Wyatt's promos in that time.
Yep, and did they come up with the answer?
Apparently not, because it's still going. Like, it's so strange. I really want to know what it is. He's got me hooked. I'll admit, I'm a sucker for this right now.
Yeah, that makes one of us.
So, but could we see that this could be Bray Wyatt coming down to sanity? Not like, I'm not talking the faction, but I'm talking just like from him being insane to sane. Because now his rambling is done. His buzzards could be next.
Yeah, he's like, but I don't know, I think he's going more insane, personally.
And where did he get all those kids from?
Sister Abigail? I don't know.
They look so upset. I was like, you guys should be getting paid triple for this, because you have to deal with this bullshit.
Yeah, it was, very odd.
But of course, remember, my Fireflies, I'll always light the way. All you have to do is let me in.
It was creepy. It was so creepy. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not on board.
But, of course, this line now makes sense. Well, for me, I think that line makes sense now that he's got the fire in the background. Do you notice that he's still got the fire painting?
Yeah.
So, he's lighting the way into the fires of hell. I don't know.
Tag team
that was what I got.
Down now.
And of course, the final match of SmackDown Live is the Triple Threat WWE Championship match. Kofi Kingston retaining against Sami Zayn and AJ Styles. Of course, a returning Xavier Woods is at ringside, getting attacked by Kevin Owens. But he's back, I think.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see a bit more of him. This match was enjoyable, enjoyable enough.
Yeah.
I'm just, by this stage, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to watch this anymore. I would, up until 3 weeks ago, I would watch Raw and SmackDown live because I'm a hobo. I have the ability to do that. And the last couple of weeks, I haven't been able to bear it because it's that means I have to watch an additional half hour of each show in ads. So I've been downloading it and then watching it on 2-speed.
Yep.
And by this stage, I was over it. I was over it all. I probably didn't give this match the attention that it deserved.
It was a decent match. Of course, Sami Zayn dropping Kofi Kingston with 3 blue thunder bombs, and AJ Styles was nowhere to be seen. I didn't understand that part of it. But of course, Sami Zayn put in a real fight for this. He nearly looked winnable, to be honest.
Yeah, I couldn't see it happening although, I don't know. I thought there was a part of me, but I guess I kind of thought Kingston would retain. He's too hot right now.
He's too hot right now. Plus, he's got a Money in the Bank match against Kevin Owens, which is really strange because when he defended against Kofi Kingston, and then when he defended in this triple threat match, there was no mention of it.
Yeah.
So it was as if like Kevin Owens didn't exist for this point. By the way, happy birthday, Kevin Owens.
Is it his birthday?
It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Kevin Owens.
Happy birthday, Kevin Owens.
Of course, we'll run down 205 real quick. So Arya Daivari getting a quick pinfall victory over Noam Dar. Of course, Tony Nese gets up from commentary and attacks Daivari. So we're getting a Cruiserweight Championship match. Tony Nese defending against Arya Daivari at Money in the Bank pre-show, of course. Then we get the Singh brothers defeating David Kaufman and Kevin Lee via pinfall. And then you get Akira Tozawa defeating Mike Kanellis in a no disqualification match. Decent 205 Live, not one of the greatest because they don't have Buddy Murphy anymore.
Speaking of, can we touch on this now?
We can touch on Buddy Murphy.
The vicious rumors that I've been seeing circulating that Alexa Bliss and Buddy Murphy split in September.
Yeah.
And they called off their engagement. Look, I believe that they called off the engagement. To me, I don't know. This is my knowledge coming from Total Divas. It seems like they maybe got engaged because there might have been some visa issues, potentially.
Ooh.
I don't know.
I didn't even think of that.
But obviously that's not going to be, I think, because they got engaged very quickly.
Yeah, they did. I think it was just young love.
Yeah, but I mean, to get engaged so quickly, because they were engaged for what, like 4 years? Ages. Like proper ages. Especially like, although I guess her sort of injury timeout has kind of coincided with his massive push in 205. So it's not like they would have been spending I don't know. Look, the part that sticks out in my brain as to why it might not be true is that Buddy Murphy's very good friend Adam Brooks is in the US at the moment, and Adam has been posting content of him hanging out with Alexa. I don't think he'd be hanging out with her without Buddy.
Yeah.
So that's to me, and it's not actually, it's a source close to Alexa, so it's not actually being confirmed by anyone.
Yeah, it's just a source. But to be honest, like, this is going to sound really, really hateful on my part, but do relationships ever exist in WWE, like, constantly? We saw Nikki Bella and John Cena break down before our eyes. Total Divas has got the spotlight on Naomi and, is it Jey Uso's relationship? Is it Jey or Jimmy?
His name's John, so I don't know which one he is.
Well, it's John, but not Cena. It's the other John.
Yeah.
So by the looks of it, the only really, like...
Wait, are they... I'm not up to date with Total Divas. Are they breaking up?
There were hints that they were arguing a lot because Naomi wanted to buy an apartment and John was like, no. And then she did an interview where she was saying she's scared of divorce. So I'm not familiar with it as well. I've just been reading a lot of stuff, like reviews and stuff. But by the sound of it, they were on Rocker.
If you watch Total Divas, it's okay. You don't need to pretend.
Oh, 100%. I'll watch it. I'll watch it. That's probably like one of the best reality TV shows of all time. But like, it's better than Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Let's put it that way.
Ah, for sure.
So is Married at First Sight.
I love Married at First Sight. I used to love Total Divas, but then it was obviously just, I'm like, wrestling is fake enough. Do we need, like, a lot of it was so staged, especially a lot of the stuff around John Cena and Nikki Bella. Anyway, look, it does seem like it's a hard industry. I think entertainment in general seems to be a hard industry to keep a sustainable relationship going. But I hope it's not true. I love them together. So, yeah. And I think for the sake of, what's the name of their pig? Larry Steve. I hope that they, if they do split, that they continue to co-parent Larry Steve.
Actually, that's, now that you mentioned the pig, it just kind of reminded me of her Instagram. I haven't seen him on her Instagram in ages.
But they don't really post each other. If you, like, have a look,
good point.
They very rarely post about each other.
Yeah. I suppose a lot of the superstars are quite private about that, eh?
Yeah, and I think that they've always, especially because they would sort of like as part of the same thing in NXT, probably didn't want a lot of that to define like their relationship to define their characters, because Carmella
Yeah.
and Cass, I feel like when they broke up, both their characters kind of took a hit, because even though they weren't being shown together like on the main roster, people knew
Yeah.
that they were together, and like when they split, that's kind of what everyone was talking about.
Yeah, it's really strange. Like, no one notices a lot of people are together, and then when the things break, they're like, oh, so-and-so split. Everyone's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
It was just weird.
Yeah. We've got far more pressing things to talk about, I suppose.
We do. Speaking of Buddy Murphy, actually, he came out in a dark segment on SmackDown to call out Ali after Money in the Bank. So we're going to have Ali and Buddy Murphy on SmackDown Live going at it, which is, I'm pretty excited for that, because they put on amazing matches.
And I feel like in like fucking 5 hours of wrestling, this doesn't need to be an ad break segment.
No, exactly. It doesn't need to be an ad break, but apparently it was.
So yeah.
Which is frustrating.
We also got the Iconics in a dark segment, didn't we?
Yeah, so the Iconics had a dark segment as well, just of course bantering against the crowd, as they do.
Yeah, just fucking burying the Australians. So racist, WWE.
So it's ridiculous. However, one Australian I really want to talk about, I have seen this now on 4 different websites for current NXT signees that are yet to debut on TV, but are predicted to be NXT champion by the end of 2020. Our own Jonah Rock is head of the list.
Are you talking about
On
Jonah fucking Rock?
Yes. He is on the head of 4 different websites, Sportskeeda being one of them. He is number 1 on the list, predicted for NXT champion by the end of 2020.
I love Jonah. I have nothing but the utmost respect for him. I say all the time, my favorite thing about Jonah Rock is how obsessed he is with his wife. He loves his wife so much, and I just think that is so endearing. I know that's really bizarre, that's my favorite thing about him. Anyway, he's an amazing performer, and he would be very worthy of the WWE, the NXT Championship. This actually also leads into, did you watch Total Flogs on YouTube?
No, I'm not gonna lie, it's the first time I've heard of that. What is that?
So, Elliot Sexton, when he was living in Orlando with Evie/Dakota Kai, he had a YouTube series called, what the fuck was it called? Trophy Life, because he was like a trophy husband. And it is such entertaining TV. I don't know how much you know about Elliot Sexton. I think he's going by his actual name, Brendan Vick.
Yeah, I don't know a huge amount of him. He's the Aussie guy, right?
Yeah, he's from Adelaide. Him and Jonah, spent a lot of time.
Oh, that's right. Because him and Daniel DeVito are doing a tag team at the moment. Yeah.
So Total Flogs is all the Australians. So it's Rhea Ripley. I forget what Jonah's going by, Jermaine something. Elliot Sexton / Brendan Vick. Vito. Is that his name? Vidot?
Yep.
Him.
Daniel Vito, yep.
And the guy who was in TM61, but his tag team, his partner's gone.
Shane.
Is that his name?
Is it Shane Thorne now?
Shane, I thought it was something strict. Maybe it is Shane Thorne. Shane, yeah.
No, it's Shane Strickland, someone else.
Right, that's where I'm getting confused. It's Shane, yeah. So it's all of them and their adventures together. I think Elliot Sexton seems to be the star because he is the most charismatic. If you haven't watched it, it's on YouTube. Search Total Flogs. It's so funny. It's legitimately so funny, and everyone in it will be a star in the next 5 years. So get on board now. Look at me. I'm not even. It's like I'm getting paid for this. I haven't laughed that much at a YouTube video in so long. So yeah, get on board.
I don't know. I've watched some pretty funny cat videos recently. It's got some competition.
But yeah, absolutely. Give it a listen. Back to your point, I wouldn't be surprised. Jonah Rock is such an amazing performer. I've been blessed to see him so many times on the Melbourne scene, especially considering he's not from Melbourne. MCW were very generous in putting him in front of us a lot of the time. So yeah, fully support that.
Yeah, like 100%. I'm ahead of Jonah Rock going ahead. Please let it happen. That's all I have to say. WWE are looking at new tag team championship belts. We are now looking at penny hemp belts. A design was leaked online just after SmackDown ended, where the leather on the SmackDown tag team titles are going to be replaced with the hemp, which is similar to, of course, the WWE Championship that he had.
The one that Daniel Bryan had?
Yep.
Yep, okay.
So, and the first people that are supposed to be going for those titles are Heavy Machinery.
Okay.
So, it'll be interesting to see.
Yep.
I'd like to see it happen.
I think they're due for a little bit of a belt shake-up because those tag belts are so ugly.
They're disgusting.
They're so,
I've hated them since.
and they're not. I feel like that the belt should have like an element of like streamlined across the main roster, and then I feel like NXT they're more streamlined, to all sort of look at least like they belong to the
Similar.
same company. You don't want them looking too much the same because obviously you want to try and sell them, to people like you who will pay for them. But
That's exactly
you
right.
want them to look like they come from the same company. And to me, the tag belts stand out the most. I think that they should go more like the women's tag belts.
Yeah.
In that
To be
design.
honest, I'm actually complete opposite. I want them to look as different as possible. I want them to go back to like the 2001 SmackDown Tag Team titles and the 2004 Raw World Tag Team titles. When they looked completely different, you could tell what brands they were supposed to be on, and they were just beautiful titles. I want something like that again.
You've sparked my interest because I don't remember those off the top of my head. So I will have a look at those after the show. But yeah, look, shake up the belts, give us some new belts. That'll distract us from all the shit.
Yeah, give us some more hemp.
Yep.
But speaking, that's pretty much everything for the main show as such. Sorry, another rumor is Big Money Matt Hardy is coming back. So I don't know if you were familiar with his Big Money Matt running in TNA, but it was very, very successful.
I'm not familiar with it. I only know Broken Matt Hardy, to be fair, and Matt Hardy version 1.
I would suggest go have a look at Big Money Matt because it is good.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. He's very entertaining.
Yeah. So by sounds of it, he's coming forward with Big Money Matt. That's a massive rumor coming out from behind the scenes in WWE. But let's touch on behind the scenes with WWE real quick because these guys are starting to fuck things up. Main topic I want to talk about are the contract issues.
Yeah. I saw the joke online that someone tried to cancel their WWE subscription and WWE added an additional 6 months to their subscription. We're at a stage where I think, to me, the ball started rolling with this with Cody Rhodes. I know it's been happening for ages, but Cody Rhodes deliberately stepping away from WWE to go into what was still, this is what New Japan are huge now and they've been big for a long time, but this is when they were not on everyone's radar. They were starting to get on everyone's radar with the Bullet Club, like when the Young Bucks joined the Bullet Club and things like that. But Cody Rhodes stepping away from WWE intentionally to become an indie wrestler, and this is controversial, I don't think Cody is that good of a wrestler, like in terms of actual skill. He has charisma out his pores. And I think that is what gets him over. And to see him be so massive and now, running his own company with, the help of others.
5 other executive vice presidents.
Yes. That has really paved the way for, you know what, guys? WWE is not the be-all, end-all because he is making so much money. Cody Rhodes is making so much money. And, that's why, I'm pretty sure that's why they left New Japan, because, New Japan can't pay us enough. They can't pay us what we're worth. And I think that is really upped the game for people realizing, hey, I can go elsewhere. And even with people like AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre, they also show that they can go elsewhere and then come back if they want to. But I think that by the time their development and things, their character and they show themselves to to the indie darlings and win them over, the wrestling landscape is going to be so different that they might not come back. I don't believe they will.
This is a bold prediction. This is like a 10-year plan because apparently Penrith Panthers have a 10-year plan every 4 years. This is what I'm predicting for 10 years' time in the WWE. If someone leaves, they don't come back.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
And I think CM Punk was one of the first people to do it, where he was like, "No, I'm done. I'm never coming back." Because by the sounds of it, he's not coming back at all. WWE have, of course, put feelers out for him. Nothing's happening there. Cody Rhodes, same thing. They tried to sign Cody Rhodes, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Page to multi-million-dollar contracts, and they all said no.
Yeah, like multi-million-dollar contracts with creative. They were looking at like mid to late 2000s mid to late 90s. Sorry, there was no mid to late 2000s WCW. Mid to late 90s WCW contracts where they are just throwing money, throwing creative control. They are writing checks that they potentially can't cash. Is that the thing?
Yeah.
Whatever. Like they.
Yeah.
And the Young Bucks were just like, or all of them were just like, no, we want to be our own brand. We don't want to be part of your brand. So I think that,
smart.
yeah, and everyone's been talking about how AEW are going to they're going to take over WWE. WWE doing a fine job of destroying themselves because people don't leave the biggest wrestling company in the world because they're getting a great deal.
Yeah.
So I know that John Oliver did a massive segment on the healthcare issue and things like that. And they seem to be in trouble.
Yeah, that healthcare issue is one of the main things I want to touch on as well. WWE haven't apparently been not paying insurance to their injured superstars. Right now, this is their injury list right now. I just want to point this out. Aiken from AOP, Fandango is out with injury.
How is he getting injured? He doesn't even have fucking matches.
No, Fandango's been out with a shoulder injury for a couple of months now. Nia Jax is out with double knee surgery. Ronda Rousey is out with a broken hand. Then you've got Big E, of course, is out with injury. Jeff Hardy is now out with injury. Sin Cara is out with injury. That was just the main roster. You've also got Tito Savatelli from NXT. You've got Tommaso Ciampa. You've got Dakota Kai. They're all out with injury. And WWE have not paid them insurance. Right now, they're going unpaid. Tegan Knox from the UK brand as well, from the Performance Center, has now been out with injury. I think she's been out for about 4 months now.
I'm not sure.
But this is something that is starting to bug me a lot more due to the fact that WWE, WrestleNomics Radio, I'm going to put a shout out to you guys real quick. You guys just did an amazing piece revealing a couple of really bad numbers that the WWE have been putting out for 9 to 12% of revenue. That's like everything that is coming into WWE. That is the TV deals, the sponsorships, the merch. 9 to 12% of a multi-billion-dollar company is going into superstar wages. It is one of the lowest income reports compared to other live sports in the United States. That includes NFL, NHL,
MLB.
Is NHL over there?
Yep.
MLB,
NBA. Those are the big four.
NBA. Yeah, there we go. We know other sports outside of wrestling. Like, these guys, what are you doing? Honestly, this is one of the most frustrating things. As a WWE fan, I've been following this for so many years, and now to find out that they're not paying insurance, they're not paying the superstars what they are entitled to. Like, come on, like, here in Australia, if you go out with injury, you get workers' comp. They're tough shit. Your contract's extended for 6 months because you had your jaw wide shut. Sorry, Revival.
Yeah, it's fucked. It's legitimately, like, anger-inducing because you feel for these people who are stuck in their contracts. They're not selling merch because they're not on shows, so people aren't buying it. So it's a really big concern, and there needs to be more attention brought to it because it's affecting people's lives, it's affecting people's careers, and like their ability to function as adults.
Yeah. And the other people that we need to touch on with this, Luke Harper is one of them. He has physically and publicly asked for his release from the WWE, and they said, no, we're going to extend it by 6 months because you took time off. Now what are they doing with him? He's still sitting on the bench doing nothing.
It's fucked.
But Sasha Banks, she's another one. She hasn't been seen since WrestleMania, after she laid on the locker room floor. Now, the rumors were that she was going to return by Money in the Bank and win the briefcase. No, she's still nowhere to be seen.
I don't believe that for a second. I don't think that she... Yeah. I think that...
So, it's really strange. So, this is one of the rumors that are here at the moment. She was internally listed, so backstage she was listed that she was going to be on the European tour. However, she has not confirmed whether she will be on the European tour. She's not confirmed whether she's coming back for the post Money in the Bank segments. She has not confirmed whether she is even part of the company anymore by physically going out and challenging the TNA Women's Champion to a match.
Fuck.
She has gone outside of this company and gone, no, you know what? Fuck you.
Good on her. I love Sasha Banks. I know you're not her biggest fan, but girls got to get paid. So I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, that's exactly right. I will admit this is something that I was not expecting from Sasha Banks, because leading reports were like, no, her and Bayley threw a fit and laid on the locker room floor complaining loudly. But Bayley's like, no, you know what? This is the company. This is how they do things. But Sasha Banks is like, no, you know what? All Elite Wrestling is here. TNA is here. New Japan is here.
Yep.
Like,
New Japan don't
she
really
has
have...
noticed...
It's more like Stardom. Is that their...
I think Stardom is their thing.
Yeah. New Japan don't
but,
have female wrestling.
Okay, well, the
But
Japanese
I know what you mean,
wrestling.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. There is so much opportunity out there. Rhino was another person who has just announced he is no longer re-signing with the company. He turned down an offer that was double his current salary. He is returning to ICW. He's not coming back. He's done.
Is it... So when you're not on shows, right, so when you're not on, like, Raw or SmackDown or Main Event or whatever, do you still have to go?
Yeah, so WWE have this thing where every person to personnel, unless specifically given time off, you still have to travel with the company just in case you're used.
Isn't that bullshit?
It is absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
When who was it? Sorry, not Curtis Axel.
Kurt Hawkins?
We always get them confused. Nope. Heath Slater. When Heath Slater and Rhino were just starting out as a tag team, after they lost their first tag team title match, they were no longer being used on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Rhino said in an interview not too long ago, even though he wasn't on TV for 2 months, he was there at every taping. They're just not being used. So, and that's what's really frustrating, because you get people like, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but people like Alexa Bliss, Dean Ambrose when he was with the company, John Cena when he was full-time, Roman Reigns, they are actually going home.
Mm.
Like, in between some of these tapings, like, they're going home for the weekend, and then they're coming back.
Which is just bizarre, because there is no off-season. So if you're not being used, like, you should be allowed to stay home. You should be allowed to spend time with your family, or, like, have a break or whatever. And there might be some people who want to, like, travel along just because they like it, but it's such a grueling schedule to have all of this obligation and then not get any on-screen payoff is so bizarre. Yeah.
Another guy who has openly spoken about this situation is Leo Rush. He has copped some major heat.
Yeah, and look, we as fans, we only see what's put in front of us. Is it the contract length that he's turned down? Is that the...
So his contract is reported to expire in 2020, but with All Elite Wrestling, WWE are tying loose knots everywhere.
Yeah.
So they offered him, he's still on a developmental contract, which means he's roughly still on 80 grand, right? Mm-hmm. Which is a lot of money to us Australians, because $80,000 is a down payment for a house.
Yeah.
And that's like a quarter of it. Over there, apparently that buys our home.
Yeah.
However, he turned down a $300,000 contract and demanded that they double it to keep him. Now, this is the statement that he actually put out in Fightful. Right? This is his words. My issue has never been with Bobby Lashley. Being with Bobby has helped the both of us out tremendously. It's given me speaking confidence I didn't know I ever had. 24-year-old piece of gold on a microphone. I never was a promo guy on the indies, but being with Bobby made me a promo guy. My issue isn't with my on-screen role. My issue is the fact that I haven't been on the meet and greets with Bobby, haven't been getting paid for merchandise for us that has my catchphrases on them. I have been sent to live shows and TVs, forced to pay for my own rental for 5 days, as well as a hotel while not making enough money to do so. Walking around broke in the biggest sports entertainment industry, that there is while having 2 kids and a wife to support. That came out of Leo Rush's mouth. He's claiming he is broke.
It's very sobering. Like, $80,000 is a lot of money in the US. I think their minimum wage is something like $4 or $5. Like, the complete cost of living is different. It's also, that equates to probably about $110,000 here. So it is a good wage. But if you're earning, say, $120,000 in Australia, but you have to if you have like a house where your wife and kids live that you have to purchase, and then you have to pay for accommodation for yourself 300 days a year. And do they have to pay for flights as well, or is it just accommodation?
They have to pay for flights, accommodation, rental cars, food, services, you name it, they have to pay for it. Randy Orton is one of the people that has publicly gone out to say that he spends roughly $170,000 a year just on flights and accommodation.
So bizarre. So yeah, I think he has a right, and it would be, especially when you see, the thing that would piss me off is when you see Brock Lesnar getting paid $2 million for one match. The Undertaker,
or Goldberg.
Or Goldberg. Undertaker's a little bit different because he does have a very impressive tenure. And the Undertaker does draw. I don't think Brock Lesnar draws names the way that WWE do, but the Undertaker draws in wrestling fans. But that would be the thing. And seeing people like Ronda Rousey getting like cash thrown at her and things like that, that would be very hard to deal with as a superstar. And I think that Leo Rush is like, as much as I don't like him, I think it's really brave to be so public with that information and being so vulnerable about his circumstances.
See, and WWE's ambassadors, Mark Henry and Booker T, both had their say in this as well. Mark Henry going on to say, you know what, you get paid a really good money, but when you spend it on custom cars, when you go and spend it on expensive jackets and shoes, and you're not spending it on the things that you need to spend on, no wonder you're broke before next payday.
You know what? I think if you're traveling around 300 days a year, if you want to buy a custom car, like, we're talking, they are elite athletes. So like, if you're in the NHL, but you're not actually getting any time, like not getting any time on the rink, you're still getting your accommodation covered, you're still getting your flights covered, and you're still probably getting at least $200,000 a year. Like, so you should be, and that's for people who barely play. That's for people who spend a lot of the time on the bench. So, I think that if you're at the pinnacle, you should be allowed to buy expensive things. I'm not one for like excess or things like that, but it's like, if you can't afford to live comfortably and treat yourself when you are, the toll of being away from home is enormous. Like, I know sometimes when I have to travel and stuff, if I'm away from home for a week, I feel miserable. I feel, like sad. And I think that should have a certain payoff in the ability to afford a certain level of lifestyle. And this is the only time I'll say this, because I'm so anti-materialistic. But if that's not achievable at a reasonable level of success in WWE, why would you want to go there? You're supposed to want to go to the Federation because it's the biggest place for wrestling in the world, and this is where you get the big bucks. This is where the big boys play.
That's exactly right. Now, a couple of superstars previously have gone out to say don't sign here due to the fact Andrade, I keep going to say his full name. Andrade is one of them. He's physically told his friends, don't sign with WWE because they don't pay you. He is still on an $80,000 contract.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of money that these guys have to spend. So, Rush's contract is set to expire in 2020. However, he is one of a handful who are unhappy and on their way out. Dean Ambrose was obviously the first one. He's returning to the Indies as John Moxley. You can see it coming. Reports are that he's signing with TNA instead of All Elite Wrestling, which would be huge for TNA.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Sasha Banks looks that she's about to sit out the remainder of her contract. Luke Harper was denied his release. The Revival have turned down a 5-year extension worth $500,000 apiece. And Rush has turned down a 5-year contract worth $300,000. These guys are turning down big money because they know they can get it elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is on top of the fact that WWE's viewerships are also down. The merch sales are down. But, for example, this year, Raw drew a 2019 low of 2.1 million viewers, where SmackDown logged a 2019 low of 1.8 million. This is a 32% decline over 5 years for Monday Night Raw. It is a massive, massive drop.
Yeah, that's like of every 3 people watching wrestling, one of them is not watching anymore.
Yeah. Like, it's a crazy amount of viewers that have no longer been there. The first quarter for WWE was just released. They had $182.4 million in revenue compared to the $187.7 million the last quarter. So there's a fair drop there. There's a $5 million drop there. Sorry, it's more than $5 million. I can't tell maths.
We're getting away from a point. There's been fuck up. Yeah.
So the quarters are dropping, which is really bad. The stocks are at an all-time low. The revenue is crashing. Their stars want out.
Yeah.
And it's happening soon.
Yeah. As we touched on earlier, WWE is no longer the be-all end-all. It's not the mecca. It's not like do this or wrestle in bingo halls. Like, independent shows are selling out in minutes. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's bad to see. But one last thing I want to touch on is this is how bad it gets. Triple H has gone and liked a tweet from a fan who tweeted to Vince McMahon saying, Vince, maybe the problem with Raw and SmackDown ratings isn't due to the wrestlers injured, but it's that you put confusing and pointless storylines. Although it wouldn't hurt if you gave your wrestlers insurance. Just a thought.
He liked that. That's savage.
He liked it. Like, of course, I like as I like, but come on,
but
for
still,
Triple H to like something like that.
As we know from, like, I'm not sure how much you know about it, like, Gary Ablett liking Israel Folau's tweet has copped him some major heat. It's not just, when you like something, whether it be on Twitter or Instagram, you are saying to the world, I agree with this.
Yeah.
I enjoy this. I agree with this.
So, and of course, WWE superstars have now started to voice their opinions. It's getting noticed. We're going to have a smaller roster.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's what we need.
Yeah. Give them all to that pissant t-shirt company. I'm kidding. I'm quoting my Triple H there. But anyway, that's pretty much everything that we had to cover this week. It was a bit of a different week, touching on the issues that are surrounding WWE at the moment. Guys, we want to know what your thoughts are as well. Hit in the comments below. We want to know what you think. Hit us up with a DM, slide into those DMs, and let us know, because we're concerned about this just as much as you are, and we want to hear from you.
Absolutely. Let's generate some conversation.
That's exactly right. of course, that would also be conversation that is coming up on the next call-in show, I believe, which is, we've just had one, so there's one next month, I believe.
No, I think we're doing them fortnightly, so I think it might be next week. But most of our call-ins
Well.
don't really want to talk about WWE, but maybe they will if it's shit-talking WWE. But yeah, we'll have a call-in
Probably.
show, which you can access through our Patreon, which is at www.patreon.com/B plus podcast.
/ the B+.
The B plus. I knew it was something. I'm sorry, Greg. Call-in shows I'm very up in front with are my favorite. Shit talking without any sort of structure or anything about whatever our patrons want to talk about is my favorite thing. The more people that we get on board with it, the more we can do. So yeah, head on over to Patreon and give Greg your money, and yeah, then we can shit talk for my entertainment.
I love that. Let's all shit talk on Patreon.
Yep.
Danders, speaking of Patreon, where can we find you?
You can find me on Patreon also, which is new. I'm trying it out. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but it is patreon.com/Rachel Danderfield. You can also find me on Twitter at Danderfield and on Instagram at Rachel Danderfield. Please don't add me on Facebook. I won't accept you, and I'll probably make you feel uncomfortable if I ever see you in public. Also, we're not friends.
There it is. I was waiting for it. Guys, you can find me on Instagram at CJs_world, but collectively we are the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit. The B Plus Wrestling everywhere else, that's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, which is patreon.com/the B Plus. We are everywhere. We're taking over. Of course, every dollar that comes in helps towards growing the show, getting custom episodes out there, ad-free episodes, some awesome rewards. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening, whether it be Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, the website, Facebook, wherever it is. Like, share, and subscribe. Of course, thank you for listening.